Greetings ladies and gents, welcome back to the Craft Hammer. I'm your host Stefan, and in today's video we're giving our very first update for the Grey Tide Challenge. In other words, 2025 is the year where I paint as much as possible to everything in my pile of shame, which even now looking at it isn't everything on the table itself. I do still have one or two projects that I'm worried I probably won't even get to, let alone I might not even finish what you see here. For those of you who have seen the previous video, and those of you who haven't, make sure to check it out. The intent here is that everything I have at least on this table, and it's possible that more will be added, as I'll probably actually go about the few things that did get added since last time, which was at the end of January, start of February, so I didn't technically start right at the beginning of the year for this challenge. There will be more things added to the pile itself as new things might get released, or I might want to add a few things. But for now, everything that is in the pile of shame needs to get painted before the end of December 2025. Now, as you can see, there's quite a few things on this table. I do actually have Grimaldus and another batch of Sword Brethren, so another squad of 5 of them that are already built and in the process of getting painted. Those aren't technically on this table, they are actually currently on the painting station, so those are here. They are supposed to be part of this pile and they will be painted as well. And you might notice that I don't have the Lord Marshal Dreer and the 10 Death Riders that came from the Creek box, mostly due to the fact that, as you can see, there's not enough space for me to put everything here, and I don't particularly have a huge wide angle. Now I will go and take the camera and do a bit of close-ups to show you some of the details and talk about what I've been doing. I guess for the moment I'm going to quickly get 2 things out of the way. What you can see is another box of Sword Brethren had been added as a present, and another box of Combat Engineers have been added as well. Now that's not the only thing that has been added. We will get some close-ups of 1 or 2 other things that have increased the pile itself. There is a high chance that there will be more things added when it comes to the Astra Militarum, mostly because I will be starting a crusade soon. Some of these already make up that little starting list, but of course it will go up to a minimum of 2,000 points. It's possible that how people in the game itself feel, we might even push it up to 3,000, but that's something further down the line, and it's something that will take a while, but it will increase the pile during this year most likely. So as you can see, the Krieg session, apart from these Marines that are just at the front, has increased from last time. We have been doing a lot of painting. Technically, apart from those 2 models, which I did do a video where I had the first minis that are painted of 2025, apart from those 2 models, technically nothing else has been fully painted, but that doesn't mean work hasn't been done. As I'm sure you could probably see from that distance where you're at, there is a number of things primed, there is a number of things built, and we do have a huge start here, which is the bulk of the troops for the Marines. Let's get into a bit of close-ups and we'll explain some of the things that we managed to add, some of the things that we've started to paint, and how this overall pile of shame elimination, getting it done by the end of the year, is going. So let's go into some of the close-ups. And here we are with the zoom in of everything that is currently in this project. Although, as I said, there are a few things that are just not here, including my Bretonnian project, and of course including the Grimaldus and the Sword Brethren. Now, because of the March points update errata that came out, my list for 1000 point tournament, which I've been working towards, has had to slightly change due to the fact that that old list was a perfect 1000 points, and then all of a sudden it was up by a few, which then meant that I had to do a lot of things to move around. And that's why we actually have, hopefully, let me see if I can get some light, we have this chaplain here that was supposed to get painted up for that list, but I've now had to move things around. Now, as I said, just because I haven't finished a model, there hasn't been any other things done. We've definitely been working very hard, and as you can see, we'll start off with the Ballistus, which is a model that I've been trying to get ready for my list. And of course, we've started with a few tiny bit of painting on the Gladius just to get that ready. The Land Raider and the other Redemptor Dreadnought, they will likely not be painted for a while. And as you can see, apart from these 5 heavy intercessors, everything else was primed. In fact, everything here, apart from the new additions, were primed before things started getting added on to this pile. So we definitely used up a few rattle cans to get this all done. And of course, as you can see, we have had a huge start on all the Crusaders, which we have 50 here. And yes, I am batch painting these, so we started with some of the base, some of the red, bits of the shoulder pad, which is going to that light grey that I like. And of course, we've had this wonderful addition of so much yellow for this entire force. It's definitely coming together, even though it's not finished. When you look at it as like an entire force here, because your eyes are getting drawn to so many different parts of the yellow, it kind of starts to feel like it is getting to that point where it will be ready as a coherent force. Now, the reason why I'm doing yellow is because all of the chainswords will have some sort of hazard stripes, while the pistols and the guns will simply just be yellow as they are. In addition, we do have some of the HQs that have been primed. Of course, the apothecary hasn't really been worked on, so that's why it is currently in that state. And let me just bring the light around to this section. We do have an addition of a Primaris, I believe, company champion. He is the one that has the individual box. I don't have the head on there just because I'm currently waiting to get another Black Templars upgrade sprue so I can give him a Crusader helmet like this champion over here. And then of course we did add the company heroes box to my models, and to be honest, I just got these because I really liked how they looked. It's not that I need them for any sort of list that I'm making, but I just wanted to have them as part of my collection. Now, as you can see, my Krieg models have also had an increase of things that have been added. I can't remember if the Lord Solar was in the last video, but he is now there and primed, so I've started to put a few touches to his base. We of course have the Heavy Sentinel, which has his base painted a tiny bit. I still need to work on those little planks, and then we'll get working on the model itself. And as you can see, we have the Krieg Command Squad, Heavy Weapons team, and an additional Trooper Squad with the engineers that were up there. They are the ones that have gotten added to the pile of shame for Krieg when the second wave came out. Obviously, I wanted them as part of my crusade, hence why they have been added, even though I have plenty of things to get on with. We did add this Malkador, which will act as a Rogel Dorn tank commander, just to stand out a tiny bit. I do like the model. Technically, the Malkador is a tiny bit longer than a Rogel Dorn, and then a bit thinner because it doesn't have the sponsons, but overall it is the same kind of footprint to a certain degree, and it's not like I'm going to really be using this at a super competitive tournament. I've already checked even with my local tournament when it comes to the 1000 point one, and they're fine for it to get proxied as such. So that is something that I just wanted to have to look cool for my Krieg. I don't think these were part of the previous video, but we do have an Aquilon squad. I just like the way they look, so I wanted to get one of them and add them to the overall force. There is definitely a lot of work to get done when it comes to all of these projects. Obviously, our main focus will be the 1000 point list that I need to get done for the Space Marines, and the beginning 500 points for the Crusade for Krieg. So those are the things that will be getting done. And as you can see, as part of the Crusade, I do have the siege cannon that I will be using. It definitely looks cool. I started painting the base itself. I want to kind of get that fully finished, and then I will start with the actual model and then get that glued onto the base. And then I will start on the gunners, which the gunners aren't here, they are on the painting station, hence why there's no like little models here, so just in case you were wondering where they went. Now you might be curious, why exactly is my Krieg Force yellow? So the main reason why they are yellow, it is a desert siege regiment. The idea for like the lore behind this was that they were stopping over on a desert planet to refill their ammunition when it came to like a little holding post, and then all of a sudden they came under siege themselves and they have to protect this desert planet. So it's kind of like the opposite way, where the Krieg aren't the ones who are sieging, but this time they have to hold out, and they're being commanded by like their commanders that they're not allowed to die. So it goes against their normal tactics, where they really want to just send wave after wave to get the job done, but because they are the ones under siege and have to protect this desert planet, they are obviously having a much more difficult time to figure out how to adapt to this new situation that they're in. And of course the coats are going to be yellow to represent that sand. And then I was thinking that the metal parts, so like the metal pauldrons, the helmets, they might go with a metallic blue, and then the tanks themselves will have like a stripe of blue on certain sections, just to represent the blue that will be the metal on these models. So that is the reason why they're yellow. I do like the way they look, and I'm really happy with going this color. I know that Krieg has some dark colors, especially if you look on the box there itself, but I really want to do a much brighter force when it comes to them, considering that the Marines are a dark red, the Chaos Knights, they're a dark blue, and then my Custodes, they are a dark turquoise. So this will be the force where I'm going to be doing some bright colors, hence why it looks the way it does. Now, I hope you've enjoyed this little update. As I previously said, there hasn't been any other models that have technically been finished since the very first two where I showed off in that video, but that doesn't mean there hasn't been any work done. As you can see, a lot of paint has gone on these models. We have a lot of models built, primed, ready to go, so it will take a while, but hopefully soon in the next update, which will be in April, maybe you will see this entire force here not on the table, and they will be full. Well, maybe I'll actually still put them on the table to show you them that they're fully painted, and then I will start working on some other things, hopefully to finish off the list for the tournament, and then of course we'll get onto the crusade. So plenty of work to get done. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Drop your comments down below what you think of the current update. Have you seen any models here that you have a fancy to? Don't forget to like this video, really helps us out. And until next time, take care, folks.